Hello, friends. Welcome to Heart Talk, our podcast trying to be number one in your hearts and minds with everything about heart that you ever wanted to know. As our first guest on Heart Talk, we are honored to have the president of the Baylor Scott and White Heart Hospitals of Plano, Denton, and McKinney, Mr. Mark Valentine. Mark is an extremely seasoned healthcare executive with over 25 years of leadership experience for the highest quality cardiac and vascular programs at nationally recognized healthcare institutions. Mark graduated from The Ohio State University with a Bachelor of Science degree and earned his MBA in healthcare from Baker College in Michigan. Since 2006, Mr. Valentine has been highly instrumental in growing and expanding advanced cardiovascular services at the heart hospitals. He's done that through innovation and a deep commitment to the highest quality cardiovascular outcomes. As a result of his leadership for the past 8 years, Baylor Scott and White Heart Hospital of Plano has been recognized by U.S. News and World Reports as one of the top 50 cardiovascular programs in the country. Under his leadership, the hospital has consistently achieved 3-star ratings in all 5 STS, Society of Thoracic Surgeon categories, while becoming the largest DT destination therapy LVAD or left ventricular assist device program in the country. Valentine's vision, leadership, and organizational skills have led to multiple strategic, innovative, and disruptive technology and treatments at the heart hospitals. Valentine is an articulate, passionate, innovative leader who has an up-close and personal leadership style. He has created a service-focused culture that exceeds patient expectations, treating them as warmly welcome luxury hotel guests.
You're listening to Heart Talk with your host, Dr. David L. Brown. Dr. Brown is an interventional cardiologist, innovator, and co-founder of the Baylor Scott and White The Heart Hospitals in Plano, Texas. He now serves as President Emeritus of the Heart Hospital's medical staff. And now, here's your host, Dr. David Brown.
That was quite an introduction.
Saying I'm articulate from West Virginia, Ohio is a big leap there.
We call that an oxymoron in Alabama.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
All right. So I think some of our audience knows that you have ties to both West Virginia and Ohio, right?
Yes.
So to get everyone more comfortable, let's jump into some rapid fire with a few serious questions about your background, about who you actually are. Okay?
Okay.
Let's figure it out. So I'm going to throw some questions at you with a couple of choices. You got to pick one.
Right.
Okay? You can't pick them all. No explanation required. So let's just start with a classic. Okay? Here we go. This one's easy. Buckeyes, Mountaineers.
Mountaineers.
Of course, we could have guessed that.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, we all know you're a big sports fan. So let's go with LeBron or Luka.
LeBron.
Okay,
Every day.
Cavaliers or Mavs?
Cavaliers every day.
Tough call. Baseball, Cincinnati Reds, Cleveland Indians.
It's got to be the Indians. I have a autographed jersey of the Indians, so I got to have Indians.
Okay, we'll make it harder. Indians or Rangers? The Texas Rangers.
I like the Rangers.
Okay, that's
I've been down
better.
here long enough. I like the Rangers.
All right, and you saw the opening of Major League Baseball last night.
Yeah.
Ohtani or any Ranger slugger?
Ohtani.
Oh.
Always Ohtani.
getting a little far eastern on us. All right, so switching sports, Dak Prescott or Geno Smith?
Geno Smith.
Come on.
I got the Geno Smith jersey, Seattle.
Okay.
I'm the only one who wears it, though.
All right. Our audience may not like that as much, but we're off and running. Okay, Cleveland Browns or your Dallas Cowboys?
Oh, it's got to be a Dallas Cowboys.
There we go. Well,
yeah.
Okay, for everyone who knows you, Jerry only serves Pepsi at Texas Stadium. Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Okay, all right. So finishing up, Ohio or West Virginia?
OH.
IO?
There you go.
Okay, Ohio or Texas?
Ohio.
Okay, well, that's a good jumping off point, right? You were at the clinic, Cleveland Clinic,
right?
Whenever we found you, right?
That's exactly right.
So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us how you got the clinic, about the clinic. Tell us something. Give us something.
I love the Cleveland Clinic. I came there, got recruited there, 11, when I was 11 years at Fairfield Medical Center, which is where I started my career. Had a great opportunity to really be the vice president of cardiovascular medicine for the west side of the Cleveland Clinic, and had a chance to get recruited there, worked with some fabulous doctors, and loved working there the entire time, and had great opportunities to talk to the heart surgeons. And that's where I really found my passion of actually working with side by side with incredible world-renowned surgeons.
So previously in episode 0, I gave a little bit of background of what I was thinking and how we got through the early part of this century, maybe from the beginning of the century and then 2003 to 2005, trying to tell the story of how we had the germination of the heart hospital. So let's jump to 2005. After several years of trying to put the heart hospital together, we reached the point of needing an executive leader, president, CEO for THH, for the concept, for the operations. Going back to your Ohio ties, trying to create this heart hospital, how'd you and I meet?
Well, the first time we met, I was at a restaurant in Legacy Village, and it was a fish restaurant that, as you know, I hate fish, so no one knew I hated fish. And you come walking through the door, pulling your jacket together like this, and giving some of the executives hugs, and I introduced myself to you, and I felt like we would hit it off, had great conversation. Then I interviewed with you the next day.
For background for the audience, we had already interviewed 14 people.
Mm-hmm.
Had offered a couple of them jobs. They went back and got their compensation doubled, right. And we eventually got to you. So we met in the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
We had an interview the next day.
Yeah.
It kind of ended with an interview at our house.
Yeah.
You on the sofa.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about the end of that conversation.
So at the end of that conversation, I think everybody knows how competitive I am, and I had the opportunity to say to you, I'll do anything to even run through walls to make sure this is the best place you've ever envisioned, and I can do that. I know I'm young. I'll put a team around us that you'll be proud of.
So you were a couple of decades younger than anybody else we interviewed or tried to hire.
Mm-hmm.
Why you? Why? How do we pick you?
You know what? I think. Well, first off, I thought it was because of my last name. For at least the first year, Valentine Heart Hospital. I mean, gosh, how could you screw that up? No, seriously, I think that I always have a competitive edge. Always trying to be the best every single day, and I think that resonated. I think with you a little bit because you were trying to build something special that no one else could do. I think that us working together to mold the best product is kind of where you and I kind of landed right away. And I think it was just me convincing my wife that, hey, Texas is a little bit better than Ohio. Let's take a leap of faith. And I think our families hit it off really well. And I'm always, family's important to me, loyalty, collaboration. And you and I hit that off uniquely and have been for the last almost 20 years now. So that's what made this place so special. So
you got hired down. Everybody's got a first day on the job.
Right.
You had a first day on the job?
I did.
How was it?
It was a monumental moment. It was the board meeting, February 26, 2006.
Good start.
Board chairman says, son, this is a big job. Don't screw this up. And he's got his cowboy hat on, a pair of jeans, and his boots on. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm not in Ohio anymore. And part of this was, just making sure that this was what excited me, what made me passionate. And Bob Mullen and I grew to be great friends. And I talk to him very regularly now. He checks on me every once in a while, and I check on him. And that's been the great relationship that we've formed with all these board members and people that have crossed our paths. Think highly of what we've created in this institution, and Bob's been a huge fan of ours. He was a great board chairman, steady as a rock.
Yeah. You came down here and you heard the mantra that I fundamentally sold this entire package on of quality wins.
Mm-hmm.
Saying it, showing it, putting it on a slide is the only two words, biggest font possible. Talk about that for a minute. Talk about how that impacted where we were to where we are today that we'll get to in future episodes.
Yeah, I think that mantra impacted my soul. It really did, because it was trying to be perfect in an unperfect world of healthcare, and that's hard to do. And so what I needed to do was put a team around me that felt like I felt, which was run through any wall, run around it, run through it, do whatever you needed to do to make this a special place. And it started from what the rooms were going to look like. It started from, are we going to pay a concierge program, because are we going to use the old philosophy of using volunteers to be the concierge group, to a universal bed concept that no one had in the DFW market, to finding the best surgeons, the best cardiologists, the best people, and then make them believe in you so much that they truly did. They wanted to be perfect too. I think that's how it really started. And here we are 20 years later.
What I remember about that time was there were a lot of people, if not everyone outside our circle, who said we were going to fail. You are guaranteed failure.
Oh, yeah.
And, mix that in. Then the government tossed in an 18-month moratorium that made it illegal, banned this. Mm-hmm. How did we get through that?
Yeah, I mean, it was we were boiling in the ocean every single day from the first year I was here. It was like, we're going to have a successful heart hospital opening where the government's going to shut us down. Even our closest confidants felt that we were going to fail the opening of the hospital. We were going to fail surveys. We were going to fail. And I quickly enjoyed everybody telling me I was going to fail, to proving to everybody that I'll never fail and do everything possible to never fail, even today. And so, part of that is putting the right team together. And I probably had a team of folks that worked for me, from the CNO, the CFO, the director of nursing, supply chain, that the average age was probably 32 years old. Everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I'm hiring all these young people. Why aren't you hiring older, more seasoned people? Well, seasoned people come with a lot of bad baggage at times, and I'm looking for an innovative team that'll take ownership, run through whatever they need to run through, and be successful. And we proved it. I mean, we've had 7 or 8 joint commission surveys, because they're every 3 years. It used to be every 2 years. We might have had more than that we're kind of the country leader every time Joint Commission comes through. They're amazed at our model. They're amazed at our philosophy. They're amazed at our team. And that's not because of me. That's because of the teams believed in the mission of what we wanted to be, which was to be perfect and be the best.
You have always been an incredibly competitive athlete, but an incredibly competitive executive and leader. Mm-hmm. And, our relationship's been built on that. It's been extraordinarily successful. If you look at, some of the things that have tried to defeat us, I feel like we stopped them at every turn, every curve, stopped the barbarians at the gate and won that. So going back just a moment, taking the quality wins piece, I was looking at a wide purview of that, talking to the physicians so that clinical outcomes were of the utmost importance. They were the primordial event. You got to have great clinical outcomes and great clinical service. But I also extended that to the hospital, to the infrastructure, to the building, to the employees and everything else. And out of that came one concept that I had of, look, let's make this a place you want to take your parents, your siblings, your family, make everybody feel good about it, like you were going to a luxury hotel, like a Ritz-Carlton. Well, at a Ritz-Carlton, the whole point was, if you go there and you get a good room, a good suite, they put you in that room and they don't move you around every 3 days, 4 times. So we started with that idea. Mm-hmm. Didn't exactly fit into healthcare. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was literally, truly bending the healthcare reputation of how care is delivered. Every hospital across the country, you move patients 3 to 4 times into different levels of care. The model that you envisioned, that we envisioned, that we've implemented, it took us employees from 40 different states to come here and practice and believe in the model, which was hard to do. It was a top-down believing in the model. It was a top-up believing in the model. There was never one job too small for anybody to be willing to do, and everybody from an ICU nurse to the physician were willing to do whatever it took to make the patient the center of everything we did, and that has just ballooned and enveloped into everything we do every single day. It's my mom's upstairs or my dad's upstairs. And I say it every day. You need to be proud of the care you deliver. And if it was your mom up there that you were caring for, would that be okay? And 99% of the time they say, no, absolutely it wouldn't be. So why are we allowing that to happen? And that starts the conversation of, I want people to be innovative. I want people to ask the question, why not? Why can't we change things? Just because somebody's done it that way for the last 10 years, or healthcare's done that for the last 20 years, our job is to make healthcare better every day.
So I may have glazed over this piece, but take that one step further and talk about the nurses, recruiting of nurses, bending the healthcare curve, maybe about nurses. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, recruiting the nurses was very, very hard. One, we were the evil stepchild of DFW when we opened the facility for a year. It was hard. We had to have a good, strong model of how we were going to recruit. And we started out saying, okay, well, this is going to be a great new hospital. It's going to be a boutique cardiovascular hospital. And from that perspective, I don't understand why we can't take nurses from the rest of DFW. What we found out was the people we were interviewing were people that had bad old habits of wanting to be an ICU nurse. They didn't want to talk to wake patients that are alert and awake. They only wanted to talk to patients that were in the critical stages of surgery. So we said, you know what? We're going to cast a huge net across the country, and we're going to recruit the best nurses. They might not be the most experienced nurses, but they're going to be the best nurses willing to learn and train how to be a great cardiovascular nurse. And that's what we did. That was the main focus. That's why we hired a young nursing executive team. That's why we hired young nurse managers. And I will tell you, the majority of all the nurse managers that started with me in 2006 and we opened in 2007 are still here working. And now they're in leadership roles at directors of nursing. My CNO has been with me for a long time. My chief financial officer has been with me for 16 years. So it's breeding loyalty and commitment. And that's what we focus on, is loyalty and commitment.
That's such a great point, especially in this day and age, post-COVID, all the way through growth. In future episodes, maybe we can talk about the growth, the expansion, and also those sort of exact numbers, talking about retention rates, talking about people who stay here that long, how long they stay, average, mean, and those things. Mm-hmm. But saving those numbers, take that piece a little bit further. That's been an important part of this in terms of LOS, length of stay. What was the impact?
Well, the universal bed component completely changed the average length of stay in this hospital in comparison to the rest of the hospitals. So we run an average length of stay of about 5.8 days. Sometimes it's 5.5, 5.6, but historically it's about 5.8 days. The traditional hospital in DFW across the country, a CABG surgery patient will stay in our hospital about 5.5 days, 6 days. The hospitals across the country will, on average, are between 10 and 11 days. And it's just because every time you move a patient, it delays care. You have to reorder everything, get new consultants on, and you start all over with the new nursing staff, getting comfortable with the nursing and the patient family and the patient. It takes time, and it's a model that we have said for a long time doesn't make sense today in healthcare. People can still do it that way. Every hospital we've created, we have 3 now, as you know, soon to hopefully have 5 or 6 over a period of time, that will allow us to use that same model, because we believe in the model, the doctors believe in the model, and more importantly, the staff believe in the model. So it's not a forced model, it's an expectation of the model.
Taking that quality piece, we've got physicians, we've got staff, we've got a great physical plant that continues to be commented on. Can you take that and talk about, we start with this, 60 plus bed community hospital to what we have today, 2,000 open hearts. How did that piece move the needle, and why has this worked?
I think a lot of things it lined up on our side. We focus on zero defects every single day, and that's hard in healthcare, as you know. We try to find the best leader of each of the individual departments that we run in this hospital. I call them, there are franchises. And I give the keys to each individual, the physician leader and the administrative leader. And I said, these are your keys to your franchise. Run it. Be proud of what you're doing. Be proud of the franchise you're running, and don't ever let me take the keys away from you. That's my mantra. And what is allowed is it's allowed people in cardiology to feel like they have ownership of what they're trying to develop. And they have routine check-ins with, you were extremely involved in this hospital. So let's not lose sight of it. It wasn't just all me doing this. It was together, you and I doing this for a long time. And quite honestly, your relentless communication to our doctors and to me to make sure that we've held up our end of the bargain. And my goal in life is never to disappoint anybody. My goal in life is to not disappoint the product that we're trying to develop. Now, have we failed at different times? We absolutely failed, but we've gotten better every time we failed. We figured things out. And I think people look to me and look to you to guide us through the trees. And every year's gotten a little bit better. And it's kind of like momentum. The first few years were hard. The first year was hard. We had people that didn't think we were going to fill the 22 beds on the one floor, and they didn't know what they thought the sky was falling. I was excited as all could be. Everybody else was thinking that we're going to fail. People thought we were going to go to jail. There's all kinds of things going on at the very beginning. But our commitment, your commitment, my commitment to saying, no, we haven't even begun. The next phase of this was to show the example. And as I tell everybody, you and I are we're on center stage at Disney World every day. We were on center stage at Disney World for 15 years. And when I walk through the hospital, when you walk through the hospital, if you're feeling like you're having a bad day, somebody's reminding me, oh my God, Dr. Brown's really upset. You better, if I'm walking with my head down, walking faster, like Mark's pissed off, there's something mad, something's happening. So I had to remind myself at a very young age that I need to be on every day. I need to make sure, because people are watching me. And if I'm having a good day and people see how I'm doing, everything else is going to be just fine. And so I created the philosophy of, guys, we're here to take care of each other. My team, I'm here to take care of you. You're here to take care of us. You and I are here to take care of each other. And if everybody sees that, we're going to win. And we've done that. I mean, we've won every year, every day. And I remind you, a little bit of this is, we're Alabama. You and I joke about it, but we truly are. Everybody wants to knock us off because we're so good. And when you're that good, you need to try to get better and be better every day. I also tell everybody, every day is a new day. Don't land on your laurels of what you did last year, last month, 2 years ago. They're going to judge you on what you do today and how you are today. And that's how I live my life. And that's how I live my professional life. That's how I live my personal life.
So, Mark, there's some controversy about the name of the heart hospital.
Right.
As you know, I originally dreamed up this name that had maybe one or two extra words in it.
A bad name.
It wasn't a bad name.
Yeah.
The Texas Heart Hospital of the Southwest.
Uh-huh.
And there was thought behind it.
Right.
The idea was, Texas is a good name. Texas is a good state. Texas takes a lot of territory, a lot of people,
Right.
a lot of things that we want. Southwest was intended to encompass a wider reach, a wider region of 5 to 7 to 9 states. And we were, with intent, trying to build not only a secondary, not only a tertiary, but even early on a quaternary care center about cardiovascular medicine, that whenever somebody else can't fix it, if you can get to our doorstep, half alive,
Right.
then we're going to fix your heart. We're going to put a balloon in, a catheter, a stent, rotablator, pacemaker, left ventricular assist device, something. And if we can't fix your heart, we'll just rip it out and give you a new one.
Yeah.
So we got you halfway here.
Right.
And it was the Texas Heart Hospital of Southwest. Apparently, you didn't like the name because you were hot after me to change it.
Yeah. So, I came from the clinic, right? You know where that's right.
I think it's in Boston.
It wasn't the Ohio clinic.
Oh, you're not referring to the Boston clinic
or the Texas, So
it was the Cleveland
clinic.
clinic.
I'm thinking I'm coming to Texas. It has Texas already in it. The Southwest is you're trying to relive the Southwest Conference football team. And I'm
from
like,
Alabama.
I know.
That's not get confused.
So we might want to change it to the SEC. The Texas
I like that
Heart Hospital, the SEC, or something.
I like that.
I just, from my perspective,
and now Texas is in the SEC.
Exactly.
We could be that.
Yeah,
we could still
I need
change.
West Virginia in the SEC.
You do.
That'd be awesome.
The Texas Heart Hospital of the Southeastern Conference.
Exactly.
Now it's making more sense.
Exactly. So I just wanted it's simplistic. I mean, some of the things we had to overcome when we were down here is the name change. And again, I wanted simplistic. It rolls off your tongue. It's eloquent. The Heart Hospital, like the Cleveland Clinic, the Ohio State University. And, you and I had been bantering back and forth a lot to try to get that changed. I had to go to the board and state my case. And then I think I got you on my team to finally say, okay, let's do that. And we ended up changing it. And, 18 years later, I mean, a lot of people around the region for sure, if not parts of the country, know when we talk about the heart hospital and they see the silhouette heart, which is the main piece of that, they know this institution.
So to be fair, the only reason you got me on your team at that point was because it's the one time in our life you were more relentless than I was.
Exactly.
Okay, it's never happened before, never happened since.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
But I actually think this is a great opportunity to let our audience help sort this out.
Yeah.
Because as you go to where you are right now, this is what's the name of the hospital today, Mark?
It's the doing business as the Heart Hospital.
No, what's the name of the Heart Hospital now? I mean, what's the current name?
Baylor Scott and White, the Heart Hospital.
Baylor Scott and White, the Heart Hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will tell you, I even liked our name before we got into that of the Heart Hospital Baylor Plano, if you will,
right,
as we went through that name change. However, what I'm really after for the audience is, what do you like better? I'm going to give you a couple of choices and let Mark toss one in too. But the Texas Heart Hospital of the Southwest, the original name. Or, as he said, the improved version, the Texas Heart Hospital of the Southeastern Conference, or SEC. Mark, offer up your best one. What do you got?
I love the Heart Hospital.
Okay, and that's it.
That's it.
You're going to take out Baylor's name, take Baylor Scott and Out White?
Exactly.
Okay. We may have to ask our sponsors about that. But thank you very much. Thanks for coming to this episode of Heart Talk. We'll see you next month. Mark, thanks.
All right.
Views and opinions expressed by Dr. David Brown are his own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Baylor Scott and White The Heart Hospital or any of its officials. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of any of them or any entity they represent. The information provided herein is considered educational and should not be used during any medical emergency or for the diagnosis or treatment of any medical condition. A licensed medical professional should be consulted for diagnosis and treatment of any and all medical conditions. Call 911 for all medical emergencies.